Michael Cohen admitted to stealing from the Trump organization in the actual reimbursement they claim was supposed to go to Stormy Daniels. I will break this down very quickly for you. Cohen says he needs to reimburse this IT company, Redfinch, $50,000. They say, okay, we'll add $50,000 to your total pay package. So Cohen is a lawyer working for the Trump organization. He says, here's my invoice. This is for reimbursements. And they say, okay, we'll give you $50K. Michael Cohen testifies. He takes that money, puts $20K in a brown paper bag, hands it to the IT company and is like, take it or leave it, puts $30K in his pocket. And then the Trump organization says, by the way, we're putting on another $180,000 in your total pay for potential tax liability. They had no idea what they were giving this man money for. The argument from the prosecution is that Trump knew this was going to Cohen for paying off Stormy Daniels, among other expenses. But how I don't believe that is believable beyond a reasonable doubt or even plausible, considering Cohen ripped them off for $60K. Now, a lot of people are confused at the $60K number, as was I. In this whole pay package, the Independent actually breaks this down. So here we have the story. Michael Cohen admits to stealing from the Trump organization while clawing back Stormy Daniels' hush money. Of course, all of the more left-wing outlets are still going to try and make the claim that the Trump organization knew they were paying up this $130,000 reimbursement, which I doubt. So here's what they say. The reimbursements to Cohen for the hush money payment, which Mr. Trump paid out in monthly $35,000 installments in 2017, totaled $420,000. As part of the reimbursement plan, Cohen had also billed the Trump organization $50,000 plus taxes for money that Cohen was supposed to pay to the tech firm Redfinch. He gave Redfinch a brown paper bag filled with $20K in cash, still owed the vendor $30 for the contract, he testified. The initial payment was only enough to placate him for the time being. He said, I still needed his service and I needed his availability. You stole from the Trump organization, defense attorney Todd Blanche asked. Yes, sir, Cohen replied. Mr. Blanche also asked whether he has ever pleaded guilty to larceny or paid back any of the money to the Trump organization that he stole from them. He did not. So basically what ends up happening is this. The reimbursement payments ultimately included $130,000 to Ms. Daniels, $50K to Redfinch, $60K bonus, and $180,000 to compensate for taxes. There's only one way this makes sense. If these are reimbursements, you don't pay tax liability on them. Okay, so let's just play this game. Cast Brew Coffee, right? We own Cast Brew Coffee, but it is a different company that does different things. Timcast Media Group. In the event there is any kind of crossover and Cast Brew ends up covering a cost that ultimately should be the responsibility of Timcast, Timcast does a flat reimbursement. Let's say it's $100. They say, here's the $100 back. You paid at the time. Let's say it's a guy walks up and says this parking bill for your vehicle is $100, and they're only Cast Brew has the money on hand and say, okay, we'll reimburse us and we'll cover the cost of the vehicle. We don't pay taxes on that. It's a reimbursement for a business expense. The only way this makes sense, in my view, they gave $180,000 tax compensation to Cohen because they had no idea what any of the money was for. I explained this a couple weeks ago. I said, I bet Cohen was invoicing the Trump organization, not the administration, the organization, and they were just paying it out. They're a multi-billion-dollar organization, and here's the lawyer with an invoice to say, yeah, whatever. They didn't itemize it. And so when he says, oh, I need another 180 for taxes, they're like, sure. I think it's fair to say, if that is true, it's not just $60K he stole, but the 130 on top. They had no idea what they were paying for. They thought they were paying services. So where the $60K number comes from is what we can say. The media, the court, there's been no ruling yet on whether Trump is innocent or guilty, although I think everybody who's paying attention thinks it's absurd and he's innocent. But what they're saying is by taking the $30K, putting it in his pocket, and then getting the $50K expense, getting tax liability on top, which is $30K, and then putting that in his pocket, he lied to get a $60,000 bill on top of the money that he was actually owed. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see how this trial. I'll say one last thing. I really thought there was a possibility that on the last day of the prosecution's case, they were going to slam the piece of paper on the table where it's like, I, Donald Trump, hereby request Michael Cohen reimbursed Stormy Daniels so that nobody finds out, blah, 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 signed Donald Trump, notarized in the state of New York, something like that. Like, here's the bombshell. Not only was there no bomb, the bombshell was for the defense.
Yeah.
So this is laughably insane. There's already conversations about why he's not going to prison for grand larceny, having admitted he stole this money. And the crazy thing is, even CNN is now saying that this is a worse crime than anything Trump's been accused of, and they're having him testify against Trump. One of the craziest bits of legal analysis that I saw so far was, never have we seen a prosecutor have a felony criminal case flip to try and get a misdemeanor.
I mean, it's almost too bad that he didn't say, yes, I paid them a brown paper bag and then I carried out everything else in a canvas sack with a dollar sign painted on it, right? like, he's blatantly stealing, and he's already been convicted of campaign finance violations. Like, he has had to defend his credibility on the stand before. I heard a couple talking heads try and defend, since doing his testimony, a former lawyer of Cohen's was on MSNBC saying, well, let me remind you that Donald Trump is on trial and he doesn't have to defend his credibility at all. In fact, the documents corroborate it. But I think the defense has done a pretty good job of pointing out kind of how this key witness, this star witness, is not reliable. And in fact, he presents lie after lie after lie. I mean, it's not the smoking gun case they seem to pretend it was.
Let's operate from, so this $60K theft, this is the wild thing. It's from the prosecution's perspective. If the prosecution is correct and Donald Trump actually did the things they claim he did, then it is a fact Michael Cohen stole $60,000. Let's take a view from the perspective of the defense. They had no idea what Cohen was doing, and Cohen's own former, they say lawyer, Costello says he was his lawyer, but he's arguing it's a legal advisor. Their defense is that Cohen did this of his own volition without them knowing. If that's true, Cohen stole the $130,000 by lying to the Trump organization about what he needed the money for, and the Trump organization just blindly paid invoices. I will stress that again. I have worked for large corporations. I got a story for you. I worked with a guy. We had a 3-month contract. I said, thank you and have a nice day. At the end of the year, some 9 months later, they told me, in passing, someone from accounting was like, oh, we got your invoices paid up. And I was like, invoices? And they were like, for your contractor? And I was like, contractor? And they were like, yeah, so-and-so. And I was just like, yo, that guy hasn't worked with me in like 9 months. And they were like, he's been invoicing us every single month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
It's a typical white-collar corporate crime. This goes on all the time. I predict that Cohen will not only not get prosecuted, he'll be hired by MSNBC.
As a legal analyst and financial crimes expert.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I have a problem following all of the stuff going on with Trump, the legal stuff, because there's so many different cases. And to be honest with you, I don't find any of it particularly compelling because I just feel like it's all just things being thrown at him to see what would stick. And I feel like that's what the average normie kind of does.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the average person is tuned into this. Like, you have to really hate Donald Trump or really, really love Donald Trump to go ahead and pay attention to this. This isn't moving the dial. This isn't convincing anyone that doesn't already feel that they, that hasn't already made up their mind. They're not moving the needle at all. And I think this hurts the credibility of both New York, and I think that it filters through to the rest of the government.
Yeah,
just the overall.
This is the party that's people are going to look at this as extremely partisan, and it's not. And this is a Democrat-run operation. That's how they're going to look at it.
And there's reports from the courtroom that the jury's tired, right? That they're starting to shift in their seat. They're getting more restless. I mean, we're in like week 5 or 6 of this case. At a certain point, everyone can see the writing on the walls.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with what you were saying, Michael. Anytime you can dunk on Democrats, I'm on board. Because I really don't like the Democrats. They've really, in my opinion, they've dropped the ball on a lot of things that didn't need to be dropped on. That being said, like, I just don't see how the government doesn't kind of get smeared overall, because I forget what it was. There was something that just came out last week.
The phone call?
Which phone call?
There was there was this recording played in court last week that they
No,
said.
no, not. This isn't about court. This is about something else.
Okay.
Oh, it was the stuff about the Fauci stuff. The fact that
Oh, yeah,
everyone
yeah.
knew that it was actually
Gain of
Right.
function.
That was gain of
this
function
harms,
research. Yeah.
like right now, the population is significantly skeptical of institutions, whether they
Totally.
be the government, whether it be it goes through whether it's the government, the judicial system, like. There has never been a time in my life when the institutions have been more suspect by the population, and the institutions have earned every bit of that suspicion. Everything from the financial markets to the government to the judicial system to the elections,
Everything.
to the world, obviously the World Health Organization, but the United States Health, or the NIH here in the U.S. Or whatever it's called, Center for Disease Control, whatever.
CDC.
Yeah, CDC. So,
Yeah.
but the point being, at a time when the population has never been more skeptical of the government, they're doing this garbage stuff that isn't gonna go anywhere.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.